know what? I gotta admit it. Christmas could have been worse. Way worse. There's only one problem now. What the hell do I do now? It's worth a watch. It's either this or stealing someone's HBO Max to watch Wonder Woman. Soul, directed by the legendary Pete Docter, was the second surprise film that Pixar released this year of the original double feature planned release, with Onward being the original one, and similar to Onward, Soul would also get a surprise digital release, this one getting the holiday treatment, getting released on the very day of Christmas itself. So I decided, why the hell not? Let's get together with my friends on Discord and watch something new. What does Pixar have in store for us this year? Here is what I thought about the movie. You know, I gotta say it. It's still so incredibly impressive that even in a time like this, a time of crisis that for millions of people have practically changed their entire work ethic or even lifestyle forever, the Pixar animation studio still manages, without fail, to still wow us and at worst, impress us with entertaining, incredibly touching films. However, despite all the odds, despite all the terror, despite all the confusion, and despite all the fear, Pixar refused to give in, and they still brought us so much cheer. That was an incredibly good poetry line. I'm gonna save that. With the original surprise release of Onward being like one of the first big releases that were gonna come out digital only this year, it was practically Pixar being the first studio, really, aside from I guess Universal, being the first big animation studio to experiment with a digital only release. Then comes, honestly, to be 100% with you, the actual film I was truly excited for this year, Soul. The one that I didn't even think they would even have the balls to release anymore this year. The one that, obviously, once again, being directed by literally the guy who made one of the greatest animated films of the last decade, Inside Out, Pete Docter coming back once again into the director's chair to make another animated film. The trailers did not disappoint. I remember last year seeing the first trailer for Soul come out, or I believe earlier in the year, when the first trailers for Soul came out, and it just blew my mind, because it seemed to be almost, for a while, Pixar going for something that they already have done before. A new Coco. And look, you all know what I thought about Coco. If you've all seen my old videos, I put it in my top 10 films of 2017. It was one of my favorite films of the year, and I still absolutely am amazed by Coco, and especially its animation, and admittedly, its unique take on a usually kind of cliche story that's been told to death in the animated Family Game. And it seemed that Pixar was going for that once again, which was kind of surprising me that Pete Docter, out of all people, would even try to explore anything like that has already been done by the own studio. So I knew something was up. Something had to be different. And now that I saw the film, holy shit, was it different. And what do I mean about the cliche storytelling that I should, I guess, start with? Well, if you guys have seen Coco, and pretty much any animated film involving a family and a kid with dreams, all of them pretty much always follow this cliche storyline of this kid with this, or even this guy with these big dreams and this passion and hopes of one day doing something big with his life, something bigger than his family wants him to do, while his family wants him to stick with the family line or the family business and not do something so drastic and different. It's practically the classic hero's journey. But from the first 20 minutes of the beginning of this film, I knew things were going to be different. To start with already Pete Docter experimenting with absolutely stunning animation, which, I mean, Pixar, even in their worst films, Cars 2, is already known for, that even at how bad as they can get in their storytelling, their visuals and their animation will never fail. And this one is definitely not a different stinker. This one is a beautiful masterpiece when it comes to the visual game. Just leaves you in awe. That I just watched it again earlier tonight for the review, that to see that again on my 4K TV with that surround sound speaker is just something that just I can't believe that some guys and their computers can pull off. It's magical. You know, it's really touching for someone like me that has dealt with this stuff before, believe it or not. I know, someone at 18 having an existential crisis about life and death is something insane, but it's happened to me. And that's why it's so touching and incredibly relatable to finally see a film that deals with that stuff, and especially with someone that has such a similar kind of passion and desire in life as the character does in their story. So to see a story that really explores that, and for someone who, because of those experiences, have really had to force himself to really think about a little more serious things than most teenagers do. Instead of thinking about how I'm going to dress up for the next day, I was thinking about, if I'm ready for the adult world, and if I can really not disappoint my parents, and do I know what I want to do with the rest of my life, and stuff that I've thought about, and it took me a lot of time to think about. But the beautiful thing about thinking about those things, when you truly take it serious and take time to understand them, that just like the movie Soul explores, that in the end, you realize a beautiful message out of it, that I was so stressed out overthinking life and being so nervous about the future, and if I was worthy of continuing with the torch that my parents would pass down to me once I had to go to college and leave high school, that I realized, holy shit, I'm alive. I'm alive right now. I'm living. And unlike most people, I'm living in like one of the greatest cities or most famous cities in the world. Everything I've ever wanted is happening, or it's right in front of me and it's ready for the taking. And I'm stressed out about the next few years? Really? And I finally took time to just appreciate life and focus on what I actually wanted to do, that everything seems so silly to me now that I look back at it. And that's why I honestly cringe when I think about the last few years. But honest to God, it was something serious that I was thinking about too, and having to handle myself. And that's why it's so touching to finally see a film that honestly explores that in the way that I practically experienced beat for beat, but I didn't die, of course, or get into some coma. And it didn't take me a few days. It did take me a few months. So that is a little bit of a difference. But, it's always it's the thought to focus more on that main theme that they explore, of that the whole film truly at its core is about appreciating life. And to realize that not everything is about not letting down a certain person, or living up to this ridiculous, impossible standard, or appreciating what it gives you is already enough. And one scene in this movie, when I realized that this film was not like any Pixar film, even any animated film I've ever seen in my life, is when I finally realized it, was one sequence in the middle of the film when one of the characters finally are ready to just conclude their main conflict, but then the other character that they're with is sitting down and not even focus on what the main character is saying, and just not doing anything, not even talking, just looking at a tree, like almost awkwardly for 30 seconds, staring at a tree and just looking at its beauty, looking at the leaves that fall and appreciating it, smiling over it. Something silly that no one would ever think about. Even the main character that Jamie Foxx plays, like, super confused, like, what the hell are you doing? It looks ridiculous, but they're enjoying it and appreciating its beauty. And the message that once I figured out what they were trying to tell you was just so touching and beautiful. The main character was just so focused and obsessed, and honestly, throughout the film, he kind of seems like a real jerk that obviously has the best of intentions, as anyone that wants to follow their dreams does. When you become so focused and obsessed of just achieving a certain thing and not disappointing and proving everyone wrong, that you don't focus on the other people around you that are trying to make you happy every day and enjoy life and enjoy this great adventure with you. And that's really the main message that goes throughout the entire film, and the core of it, of appreciating life. And it's what blows my mind, because not many films really dare explore those kind of messages. Something that, hell, I've even had to rethink over and over again for like 3 times throughout this whole year, because you get so stressed out and busy of the whole fear of losing someone you love and not wanting to disappoint your parents, especially now in a time like this, and prove that you can beat the odds, that, hell, I forgot sometimes to just stop what I'm doing and look at the trees and just admire the beauty. Or hell, admire the fact that I literally have everything I've ever wanted already around me. And it's so exciting, and it was even incredible to watch it and experience it with my own friends. Now that, and especially now in times like these, where it feels like you don't really talk or see anyone anymore, and it just completely wowed us. And it's what was so beautiful about Soul. Soul, aside from even its beautiful animation and also its incredible cast, I mean, Jesus, listening to Jamie Foxx just play this middle school band teacher is just some of the funniest things ever. The man's been an incredible actor since Ray. All that still does not add up to the incredibly genius, masterful writing that this film has, and the incredible messages that it explores and tackles geniusly. The idea of just appreciating life, especially in a time like this where so many people have been lost and never really got to appreciate enough of it anymore. And so many people seem to be so busy to try to avoid or prevent more people dying in such awful ways that we don't just take the time to breathe and just appreciate what we already have. Does it mean it's perfect? No. Does it mean it's terrible? Hell no. And that's what this film delivers, and that's what this film is trying to tell you constantly. And it does it in such a beautiful way that once you get the message, you just can't help but smile. Soul, with its, in conclusion, breathtaking visuals, masterful act performances, such as specifically with Jamie Foxx, and its incredible storytelling and writing, and the incredible unique themes that it explores about life and death, is something that, especially in a time like this, everyone, from the kids to hell, even the old people, should be watching. I really hope everyone gets a chance to experience a film like this. I'm going to give Soul a 9.5 out of 10. It is not a surprise to me at all that the legendary Pete Docter, the guy that made Up, the guy that made Inside Out, was the man that made it. But it just still wows me that even at a time like this, Pixar never fails to deliver on its magic. And by God, this film was magic. Guys, that was my review of Soul. Honestly, I really enjoyed doing something like this, and I really hope you guys get a chance to see it. I really hope this just helps encourage more people to go check it out. It's on Disney Plus, and you don't have to pay for it like the stupid Mulan premiere. Please go experience it if you get the chance. I really had fun watching this during the holidays. This was a very different Christmas season, obviously, for me, and probably for a lot of people, especially in the US right now. So, hell, hopefully this gets to be the film that changes that. I really hope you all enjoyed this video. Stay safe. Happy holidays, everyone. See you guys.